Yeah, I thought we had another solid weekend this weekend. Again, our only loss for the weekend was a fifth setter. It was a nail biter. We saw action from a lot of different people again, which is always great that we can call on somebody to jump in and contribute and help us continue to earn points and eventually win sets and push teams to five sets when we need be. So I'm excited about the depth in some of our positions and the use on our team. And hoping just to continue to brush up on a few technical things that we need to work on heading into the weekend.
Sean, you can go ahead.
Coach, Alley Tribe, I thought was pretty impressive this week. What have you seen from Allie, and what has she done to kind of have that growth?
Yeah, I mean, we're really fortunate. Alley Tribe made the commitment to come in this past spring and graduate early and train with us all spring. So she's had some added time in the gym to get used to our system, to what we're doing, to what we're asking of her. And she's just been really patient. She's a natural competitor. She's been very successful in her career thus far before UTSA. So she's just was biding her time to get in there and see some things. And so really excited about what she did. And she put back-to-back days together in both five setters. So I think for her, it was, she needed that. She needed the time. She needed the success. And she just works hard. And I think that's part of it. She finds a way. She doesn't get super frustrated. That's really rare in young players.
Terrence?
As far as this weekend, the schedule itself, how did that come about? Were you doing it in the off-season schedule?
Yeah, for me, it's just trying to look at our roster. Who do we have returning? What players are we bringing in? Volleyball's a year or two ahead of time as far as recruits that are committed most of the time. So we have a good gauge of who's coming in and what their strengths are, and maybe some things that we need to work on or get prepared for conference. SFA is a historic, really, really, really solid team. Debbie does a great job over there training them and getting the most out of her athletes. So we knew it would be a tough opponent that would be really good for us to test what we want to do going into conference the following weekend. And then, she rounded out the tournament with Boise State, who's also very solid in their conference, and McNeese State, who's gotten better and better and better since Sasha, their head coach, has been there the last 2-3 years.
Sean?
With the match against Alabama, obviously that's one you wish you could have had, but how much confidence does that give your team that a Power Four SEC program that is a team you really have the ability to beat?
Yeah, it's a lot because we're seeing teams in our conference beating Power Four teams. We think that we're right there on the edge as a volleyball conference in the American to compete and win games against Power Four teams and to give our kids that boost of, all right, we're right there, we're doing the things we need to, and just continuing to trust what we know, and keep it simple and keep it basic. That was the message all weekend is, hey, let's keep it simple. Let's trust this rally. Let's focus on this thing. And so to see it come to fruition against a team like that and one play here, one play there, and it's the match, it's really good for us, especially our young kids.
Terrence?
Is the mindset for this weekend different in terms of, when the conference starts next week, you kind of, let's get the starting lineup set, rotation set type of approach?
Yeah, I think the rotation's been pretty similar. I think, the great thing about being a coach is you have the ability to make adjustments, and we're lucky that we can do that this year, and we put ourselves in a great position to have those adjustments. So if someone's having an off game, or maybe, they just can't get into a rhythm, we have someone that can come in and continue to help aid them, and that's the mentality of our team. Next woman up, who can step in and do what we need to do in this set, in this rally, at this moment, using strategic serving subs. We really want to use our whole entire roster, and I think certainly we would love to have a starting 6-7 that's consistent, but in the reality of things are, being able to make adjustments is the name of the game. So I want to continue to get our key players working with our setters, and continue to get more point production out of the middles. I think that's the biggest goals going into this weekend.
Sean?
Caroline Treadwell's a young player who's been able to come in and make an immediate impact. What have you seen from her, and what did she do to allow her to kind of move into this starting lineup right as she got here?
Yeah, she's just an energizer bunny. When you watch her on the sidelines, when you watch her when she's in, she works very, very hard. And in the middle, a lot of times you're working harder than some other people and you don't get the set, you don't get the opportunity because you'll pull a middle and then they'll set over top and go to an outside. So you just have to be relentless, and I think that's one of her biggest characters is she's relentless and she has such positive energy, and you always just see her going out there ready to work. I think that's one of the biggest things is our setters know, like, hey, she's going to be up, or we can trust her, or she can manage. I think that's one of the things that has her in as a staple in the lineup right now.
Terrence?
As far as the teams this weekend, do you know anything about them and kind of how I plan those teams to prepare for going forward?
Yeah, so we play McNeese State and SFA on Friday, and again, a lot of volleyball in one day. So we just have to be gritty, and I think that prepares us for conference because we do have some pretty brutal travel weekends where we play on the road and then come back and play at home. So we just have to have the mindset of what can we control in this moment and what do we need to do to stay organized. And that's going to be a big thing on Friday is how do we stay organized? How do we point produce? And just in general and confidence when we're playing teams, we got to make sure that we're more organized. We're out working people in dig transition to create our own points and just really get gritty. And I think that's what the teams this weekend bring. Is they're well coached. They have some athletic kids. They're going to be very similar to us. So I think it's going to be anybody's game and who can outlast who. So it's been, though we want some of those 5-set wins, it's been a blessing to be in those situations because the more you're in it, the more comfortable you are. And so I expect some tight sets and some long matches and us just to continue to grind.
Sean?
You played three different setters, and they've all been able to really manage your offense well. How important is the depth at that setter position?
Yeah, we want to be able to point produce, and we feel like this year being in a 6-2 and having 3 attackers up majority of the time is something that'll be helpful to us. A little bit is getting to the rhythm and getting our freshman Morgan in there and getting her feet wet to make sure she can run the show if she needs to. And obviously Annika is a transfer, new to the program, same thing, is getting her in there and making sure that she can just continue to create that setter-hitter relationships. And it gives us depth just like in those other positions, leadership experience. We want them to be able to run the show and step in and run the show when we need them to. So it's been great to be able to give them time.
Terrence?
Back-to-back weekends, you won 2 out of 3 at home tournaments. Is consistency, 2 of you lost in 5, is that kind of what you're looking for right now?
Yeah, I think, making sure if we're not playing at our best, we continue to draw out sets and draw out matches, whether it be adjustments or just kind of settling in. Obviously, it's tough to play 2 matches in one day, especially when you're playing long. But it's just continuing to be where we are, be in the play at the moment, and continue to find ways to point score, continue to find ways to play that chess game with other teams. But it certainly helps prepare us for long sets and long matches as we move forward because there's a lot of matches on our slate for conference that are going to be ones that we're very equal with teams on paper, and so they should be great matches, and we just want to make sure that we're preparing for those matches, and I think we're doing that right now.
Well, if there's no other questions, that'll wrap things up. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Birds Up.